Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV with your college football top 25 video for Championship Saturday, this Saturday, December the 4th. And there are five top 25 matchups. We've only got, what is it, about maybe 10 total games this Saturday, but five of those, half of those games are top 25 head to head matchups. And not a surprise because it's Conference Championship Saturday. I'm going to get to those five biggest games of the week in college football. I'm going to give you my power ratings, let you know where the line value is, and also some matchup analysis, and let you know where I lean in several of these games as well here in just a moment here on Wager Talk TV. Quick reminder that if you want my official best bets, the games that are the strongest best bets for this Saturday in college football, and of course this Sunday in the NFL, you don't want to forget to visit my page, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Pay attention because it's the first time in history that I have two strong 5% NFL best bets going on Sunday. It's the first time ever I've had two 5% plays in any sport on the same day. I've got them both going this Sunday in the NFL. Last week, we cashed in easy over in the 60-plus point range in the NFL with a 5% total. And there are two games I like even more this Sunday. I'm making them both 5% best bets. Now, normally it's $35 for each play. You can get both for a special 2-for-1 special for $39, or I'm taking it a step further. Get 3 days for $49. That's right. You're getting both the 5% plays and then getting all the other sports for 3 full days for just $10 more. But you must have promo code STEVE49, STEVE 49. Steve49 gets you the next 3 days and nights. Whether you start Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, you choose the day you want to start. You'll get 3 days and nights, all sports for just $49. And by the way, that includes my number one ranked college and pro basketball, which is 32-16, 67% this season. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Let's look at the first game on the board. Goes at 12 noon Eastern Saturday. Don't have to wait long on ABC for the Big 12 title game. Baylor, Oklahoma State. This game, of course, being played in Arlington, Texas. Home state for Baylor, but I think Oklahoma State obviously is going to travel extremely well in this because a win here very well could get the Cowboys into the playoffs if some pieces fall right for them. We're going to talk about that Alabama-Georgia game in just a moment. Obviously, if Alabama loses as a 6.5-point dog, which theoretically they should, then Oklahoma State's going to have a very good chance with the win to maybe get into that Final Four picture. I'm not a believer, though, in Oklahoma State. I mean, this is a team on the season offensively is below average, just 5.5 yards per play against teams that allow 5.8. However, their defense is legit. I am a believer in this defense. It's a shutdown defense, giving up just 16 points a game, barely over 4 yards per play. And that is why there is some line value according to my power ratings on Oklahoma State. In fact, my power ratings favor the Cowboys by a full 8 points on this neutral field. The current line as we head into the weekend is only -6. It did actually open 6.5 earlier in the week, so a little bit of money's coming on Baylor. I disagree with that move. The line value is with the Cowboys here. Substantial drop in the total. It's gone from 49 down to 46.5. Baylor is a pretty good offensive team, to say the least. 33.5 points a game. Good defense as well, 19 points a game, and that's why we've seen some money coming in the under. We have two good defensive teams. But once again, my line value favors Oklahoma State here, and I think they get the win here, and they put themselves surprisingly in a position to maybe be in that Final Four playoff come next week when it's announced. Oklahoma State -6 is where the line value is. That goes at 12 noon Eastern on ABC. We're going to get to that Georgia-Alabama game in just a moment at 4 Eastern, but there's another game at 4 o'clock Eastern, and this is another team that's in the national title hunt right now in the playoff picture, and that's Cincinnati, the AAC championship game. And this is the only one of the 5 games I'm talking about here in the video in which a team is playing on their true home field, and that's Cincinnati at home minus the 10 to 10.5. And this line is way too short based on my power ratings. In fact, I make the line 16.5, so there's no question the line value in this game is on Cincinnati at home, laying the 10 to 10.5 points. I'm a little concerned they might play tight in this game because they have a lot more on the line than Houston. And by the way, Houston, a quiet 11-1. If Houston hadn't lost the one game this season, they'd be in this same situation right now, maybe sneaking in to the championship picture. Although Cincinnati's played about a 5-point tougher schedule overall, and that's why they are in the mix despite being from a non-Power 5 conference. A really good team on both sides of the ball. They average 40 points a game. They give up just 15.5. And I know they've played a weaker schedule than some of the big boys we're talking about here, but they're still 1.1 yards per play above average, both offense and defensively, even when factoring in the weaker schedule played. So once again, my power ratings definitely favor Cincinnati on Saturday at 4 Eastern. This game is on Fox. Actually, no, it's on ABC also. Another ABC game. They got 3 of the 5. This game also on ABC at 4 Eastern. Cincinnati minus the 10 to 10.5 has the line value. My power ratings make it 16.5. The biggest game of the week, though, without a question, is the other game at 4 o'clock Eastern Saturday afternoon, and this one is on CBS, and that's the SEC championship game between Alabama and Georgia. Of course, neutral field, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, as always. And my power ratings only favor Georgia by 5.5. Okay, so if you're looking at just the screen, you're going to see 5.5, and you're going to say, hey, the line values with Alabama. But no, not so fast. I am not fading this Georgia squad. Even though it's a point too high, the only way I would play this game is Georgia, and it's currently -6.5. As long as this stays below that key number of 7, I think the value is still, well, maybe not the value because the line's a point too high, but the only way to play it would be the Georgia Bulldogs. By far the best team in the nation. I did some shows earlier this week. I did a national TV radio show on ESPN earlier in the week, and the host is down in Alabama territory, Tennessee territory, made an excellent point. Tom Abraham, who I do the show with each and every week, said that there is a path in which Georgia might not make the playoffs if they lose. And I thought he was crazy when he said that, but the more I've started to look at it, that could very well happen. I don't think it will happen. I don't think it should happen. I have Georgia as basically almost a touchdown, as you see, better than anybody in the country. And Alabama is my second-ranked team in my power ratings. I still got Georgia 5.5 points ahead. But the problem for the Bulldogs, as my friend Tom Abraham pointed out accurately on his show, is that Georgia's played a weak schedule, and they haven't really been tested because they played the SEC East, the SEC least, and they didn't play a lot of those tough Western teams. If Alabama wins this game, their only loss came to a good Texas A&M team. They beat Georgia. And Georgia's only loss, of course, would beat Alabama. So I still think they get in. But there is a little bit of a scenario of Oklahoma State wins, Cincinnati wins, where something crazy could happen. So this is a very important game for Georgia still. But regardless, they're not going to overlook this game. It's their chance to take a smacking to Alabama, who's been the power for a decade now in this conference. And I do think Georgia, even maybe with the weaker schedule, is still a really good team. Just look at what they've done this year. They've averaged 41 points a game. They've allowed less than 7. All these other teams we're talking about, these good defensive teams like Oklahoma State gives up 16.5. Cincinnati, against a weaker schedule, has given up 16 points a game. We're going to talk about Iowa and Michigan here in a few moments. Michigan's given up 17. Iowa's given up 17. Alabama gives up 20 points a game. Georgia gives up 6.9. This is the most dominant defense I've seen in recent history. They give up 3.7 yards per play against teams that average 5.7. This is a monster defense. Now, Alabama is good defensively. They're really good against the run, decent against the pass, nowhere near as good as Georgia, though. Georgia allows 4.9 yards per pass. Alabama allows 7. And Bama this year has struggled to run the ball. I think that's the big difference in this game that's being overlooked by a lot of people. Georgia runs for 200 yards a game, 5.5 yards a carry. Even having a big lead in every game, they're still averaging 5.5 yards per rush this year. Alabama, as we saw in that Auburn game last week, has struggled to run the ball at times. They had only 64 rushing yards on 36 attempts. Keep in mind that LSU game at the beginning of November, a month ago, 6 total rushing yards in that game on 26 attempts. This Alabama running game is nowhere where it's been in recent years, and this is not as good of an Alabama team as we've seen in recent years. So even though the line's a little high, at 5.5, my power ratings, I still like Georgia at -6.5 or less. Goes at 4 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Those are your 3 afternoon games for Saturday. There are 2 more top 25 matchups at 8 o'clock Eastern Saturday night. Going to get to both of those in just a moment. Quick reminder, if you want my official best bets for Saturday college football, if you want my strong NFL best bets, including both 5% best bets, first time in history I've had 2 5%ers on the same day in any sport, and it happens this Sunday in the NFL, then you want to go to my page right now, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Get there quicker with the shortcut code WT.buzz/SM. And while you're there, you can make a 3-day and night all sports, all access package for just $49 by using promo code STEVE49, STEVE 49, STEVE49. Gets you 3 days and nights, whenever you want to start, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. You get 3 straight days and nights of all sports. And that includes my number 1 ranked college and pro basketball, which has started this season 32-16, 67%. WagerTalk.com. Steve Merril, promo code STEVE49. Let's look at those last 2 games for Saturday top 25 action. We'll go once again in rotation order. They both go to 8 o'clock Eastern. The Atlantic Coast Championship game, and we all knew this was going to be the matchup when the season began, right? Wake Forest, Pittsburgh, both 10-2 teams. Where's Clemson? Clemson actually would beat any of them right now. They're playing excellent football, but that doesn't matter, as this is the matchup we have, and it's kind of ridiculous either's even ranked in the top 20. My power ratings do favor Pitt by 3.5, and guess what? The line is exactly 3.5. So this one is a spot on where the line should be based on my power ratings. This game, by the way, being played in Charlotte, North Carolina. They had it taken away from them recently last year or the year before, but they've got it back this year. Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. Wake Forest in their home state, you would expect to have the crowd edge. I don't know how well Pittsburgh will travel down to North Carolina for this game. I'm sure both teams are excited to be here, as I said, somewhat unexpectedly. 10-2 versus 10-2. Power ratings say 3.5. The line is 3.5. Pittsburgh, the favorite. Just quickly looking at the matchup. Wake Forest, good offensive team this year, but their defense is suspect to say the least. I still can't forget that they played that 70-56 game against Army back in mid-October. Put that in perspective. The over-under on that game was 53.5, 54. Both teams scored over the total. I'm not sure I've ever seen that happen in my 25-year career as a professional handicapper. And then 2 games later, Wake Forest loses for the first time 58-55 to North Carolina. Then they beat NC State 45-42. Brave man if you play the under, brave woman or man if you play the under in this game. It's around 71, hasn't moved much. I know it's a championship game. We often see more defense in these championship games. Just hard to make a case for it in this one. So Wake Forest is going to have to get their points. Pittsburgh, meanwhile, is a decent defensive team. They give up just 23 points a game, 5.2 yards per play, but they're also explosive offensively. Both teams average just under 43 points a game and about 6.5 yards per play. So not the matchup we were expecting, but it should be a pretty good show and fun to watch. Wake Forest, Pittsburgh, 8 o'clock Eastern on Saturday night. And that, of course, is on ABC as well. Power ratings say 3.5, and that's the current line. So really no line value either way. Final game is the Big Ten championship game, also at 8 o'clock Eastern. This one is on Fox Saturday night. And this is an interesting matchup, to say the least. You know, Ohio State, Michigan was the Big Ten championship last week, as most of you would expect. It was also a playoff elimination game for one of those teams. And Ohio State is the touchdown favorite. It got eliminated. You know, I told you right here on this video last week that the line value was with Michigan. And the more I started looking at it and analyzing, I was leaning that way as well. I thought they were a live home dog for several reasons. Well, it turned out that was the case. They won the game outright, and now they have to avoid that dreaded letdown against Iowa. I know it's a championship game. I don't think they're going to let down. They'll be excited to win the Big Ten championship, but it's human nature. It's very difficult to go from being a touchdown dog, knowing that you have a national semifinal game on deck if you win, and then covering as a 10.5, even 11-point favorite. In fact, as we head into the weekend, this line has gone from 10.5 to 11 at some sports books. My power ratings make the line exactly 10.5. So it's been spot on all week, but at 11 or more, there is now some line value with Iowa. And either way, I like the Hawkeyes in this game. You know, I mentioned last week on this video, Michigan was a defensive dog. Well, now Iowa is that defensive dog. They allowed just 17 points a game, and they're getting 10.5 to 11 here on a neutral field. This is in the Lucas Oil Dome in Indianapolis, Indiana, 8 o'clock Eastern Saturday night. Once again, I don't think Michigan's going to overlook Iowa, but it's hard to imagine that they have the same intensity. It wasn't just a big win last week. It gets them the national title picture. It keeps them there. And it was against arch rival Ohio State, who had beaten them 8 straight times. And now they have the national semifinal on deck if they win. This is a sandwich game. We don't see that too often in conference championships, but it's a definite potential sandwich spot for Michigan. So I lean towards Iowa here, plus the 10.5 or 11. It's pretty much spot on based on my power ratings. But the little elves that live in my computer have not quite learned how to factor in human emotion and nature. And I think you got to dock it a couple points for that reason. So 10.5, all things equal, but any kind of a letdown would bring that line lower. So I think the value is with the Iowa Hawkeyes on Saturday night. Hey, hope you found this video useful. Hope you found it informative. If you did, take 2 seconds, give it a thumbs up, click the like button. Take another 2 seconds to make sure you're subscribed to WagerTalk TV by clicking that subscribe button. And if you want instant alerts, little insider tip here, if you want instant alerts when my NFL Fade the Public video is posted this weekend, click that bell next to subscribe and you will get instant alerts. You'll be one of the first to watch my Fade the Public video here on WagerTalk TV. By the way, 2-0 last week, 13-4 the last 5 weeks now, fading the public here in the NFL. Keep in mind, last year I started it in late November. Right? This time last year, we went 31-7 through the Super Bowl, 13-4 the last 5 weeks, including 2-0 sweep last week, fading the public. That video will be posted this weekend right here on this channel. Hit subscribe, hit the like, and hit that bell for instant alerts. And most importantly, leave me a comment below. Let me know who you like in all 5 of these championship games that we talked about. Let me know where you agree with the power ratings, where maybe you disagree. Give me your best bets for this weekend. Like, subscribe, comment below. I read every comment and I reply back. I love the support, and I wish each and every one of you the best of luck this weekend. Don't forget, 2 strong 5% NFL best bets for the first time ever this Sunday. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, promo code Steve49. Steve 49 gets you 3 days and nights for just $49 all sports right now. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Thanks for watching. Best of luck. And check back this weekend for my NFL Fade the Public video right here on WagerTalk TV.